Hello and welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I'm Eva Maria, your Monday hostess for this season. And this week's topic is doing spells for others versus for ourselves. This shouldn't be too hard of a topic for me to cover. I think I have pretty clear sort of views on this. There are many reasons why sometimes people won't necessarily do spells for themselves. Just like there are reasons for why people won't always do readings for themselves, though I know readings is a whole nother topic. We're talking spell work. Sometimes there are certain situations where, let's say, the shit has hit the fan, or you're just emotionally all over the place for whatever reason, or just too much is going on for whatever reason. You just can't seem to bring yourself into the right headspace or emotional place to be able to cast effectively. Well, then you might call upon a friend, or you might hire someone to do work for you, spiritual work or magical work for you. There are also cases where people are just not familiar with the realm of the metaphysical or, the spiritual. They're not practitioners magically. They can't really, they're not well equipped, I should say, to help themselves. So they go to others to cast on their behalf. And there's nothing wrong with that, so long as the person that you're going to really knows their shit. If you're going to have someone do a spell for you and it's a big deal, you want to kind of have a pretty good feeling that that person has a decent amount of experience. Not just a feeling, but you want to kind of go to someone who's got a good amount of experience under their belt. I wouldn't say take a really important situation and ask someone who's only been a witch for like a year or a few months necessarily to do the work for you, because they might not be as well equipped, I think, to get the results that you're looking for. So if you are in that situation where you need to go to someone else, just to be sure that whoever you're going to has kind of had some experience, has studied a lot, has, just really knows what they're doing. I mean, nobody knows everything, but I wouldn't say turn to someone who is very, very new, and not that they can't successfully get you results, but you're kind of gambling, because though they may have a decent amount of knowledge in whatever bit of time they've been studying and practicing, someone who's kind of been around the block a little will just have a lot more of a solid track record, is what I'm trying to say. Now, that aside, there are certain benefits to doing work for oneself. One of which is that we ourselves, we have the deepest connection with our lives' situations. And also we have the greatest investment into our lives' situations, emotionally, mentally. We really, when a lot's at stake, we have a really deep connection to things. We really have a greater ability, I think, to think, to feel in regard to these situations. So our intentions, I think, will pack a bit more of a punch to a degree. There are people that can cast for hire, or who can cast on the behalves of others, who, though they don't have as like that deep connection with the lives, or the life situations, or the direct life experience of, the person who they're casting on behalf of. Some people, if they really know their shit, they can get the results you're looking for regardless. But there really is, assuming that you're not like too emotionally overwhelmed or mentally and just unable to focus, or assuming that you're able to cast for yourself, I would think personally, I would say, whenever you're able to cast for yourself, you probably could do a really, really awesome job, where taking your situation to someone else, depending who you go to, you may or may not get what you're looking for. So that's another thing to take into consideration. It does matter if your worker knows their shit. But one thing I want to say, and I hear workers for hire talk about this a lot. I've seen like 1,000,000 times this come up in conversations and so on and so forth. Honesty matters, okay, if you're going to hire someone to work for you. If I had a quarter for every time that someone lied to the person they hired to work on their behalf, oh man, I would be so rich. And I don't understand why people do that, why they will hire someone and then not be honest about the situation at hand. You know, whether it's love work, revenge work, whatever the hell kind of work. Sometimes people will kind of omit parts of stories, invent parts of stories. But what people that do that don't understand is the workers always find out. And when you're found out, things don't go so well for you. So please, don't ever be tempted if you're going to hire someone to do work for you. Don't ever, 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 ever be tempted to fabricate things or omit things or spin it so that they do what you want them to do, because those workers will find out. So long as they're workers that know their shit, as I've said before, and I've heard this 1,000,000 times, and it never really ends well for the person that lied, you know? So that's another thing to take into account. Sorry, I'm just looking up at my notes. Love work, I think in particular, is something that probably would be best done firsthand, if at all possible. And I say that because when it comes to matters of the heart, someone else can't feel what you can feel. You know, someone else can't feel the love in your heart. Someone else can't, they don't have that, like I said, they don't have that connection in your relationship. You know, if you're going to them because you're having problems within your relationship and you need to kind of right that sinking ship or something, you're better equipped than someone who's never even known your partner, or even if they have known your partner, they don't have that intimacy that you have with your partner. So that's another thing to consider too. And I'm assuming, of course, it is a relationship situation where two parties are already involved, you know. Not to say that workers for hire can't do love work well. I mean, I've heard 1,000,000 times of you know, figuratively speaking, of workers for hire doing amazing jobs because they knew their shit. As I said earlier, you know, it's so important that if you're going to have someone do work for you, someone else, whether it's a friend, a worker for hire, whatever, they make sure that they know their shit. Also, I don't personally believe in the rule of three, but I do believe in consequences, and I've said this in a few videos that I've made here and on my own channel and in other places. Don't think either that because you've hired someone that consequences will come back to you, good or bad, of course. There are good and bad consequences. It depends on the situation. It depends on what's going on. You know, cause and effect. There's always something that follows, you know, B follows A is what I'm trying to say. So don't think that because you've hired someone or because you've asked someone else to cast on your behalf, don't think that whatever follows A will not come to you, because you set that wheel in motion. That's my personal belief. I really do believe that. And because you're living your life, whatever follows A is going to come to you, not to that worker. So just do be aware of that as well. There's probably a lot of complex pros and cons, I would say, between working for oneself and working for another. I think a practitioner could be equally good at both, so long as they really know their craft and so long as money is not driving the person doing the work, when it's for others, by the way. Obviously, money doesn't come into effect when we're casting for ourselves, but you know, unless you're doing the prosperity work, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about so long as a worker is truly invested in helping people, you know, and as long as they really, as I've said it a few times so far in this video, I've said it a few times already, as long as they know their shit, then yeah, I mean, I could definitely see a worker in that position equally well casting for others as well as for themselves. You know, their abilities shouldn't be hindered either or. Though I will say that in casting for the self, there is something very powerful about having a direct hand, a proactive hand in manifesting what it is that you're desiring, or, you know, in ridding yourself of what you're seeking to release from your life. Because again, it's more direct, it's more personal, it's deeper, you know. Yeah, there's just a lot of like nuances, and I'm sure there's exceptions to every rule because there always are, but I don't know. I mean, I think generally speaking, if I had to generalize here, generally speaking, maybe work for the self will come easier to most people, and work for the self will probably be, you know, what am I trying to say? Results coming from work for the self will probably be a lot more effective and powerful, I would think, in most cases. But again, I'm assuming that the person that is seeking work to be done, whether it's by themselves or with someone else casting on their behalf, I'm assuming, of course, that such a person knows how to do what they're seeking to do, you know? There are people that cannot cast for themselves. They just don't have the knowledge. They don't have the supplies. They don't have, you know, the time. They don't have the focus, whatever. So, yeah, I guess it all sort of depends on a lot of factors. You know, which is the better way to go, to cast for yourself or to have someone cast for you, or which you would personally be better at, casting for yourself or casting for others. My personal advice to people that don't have a lot of experience, please, please, please do not suddenly wake up one day and decide that you want to be a spiritual worker, and don't start advertising it, and don't start like running out and like trying to help people if you don't have a lot of experience. And I'll tell you why. I know you probably would mean well, but and I've known some people that have tried this, and it really was kind of frightening to me. Not that I was scared of them. I was kind of frightened for the people that would go and pay those people, not knowing, not realizing that they were very, very new. And just the idea that such new people to their practice would go and advertise as though they had years of experience and study and firsthand, like, you know, hands-on whatever under their belt, when they did not. Thinking about how such people could potentially go and muddle up the lives of others for money is just frightening to me. So please, I'm just going to urge you guys all, I mean, I'm really sure that most of you wouldn't do this. I'm just saying it though, so it's said. Please, if you're new to your practice, maybe get a little more familiar with it. Like really, really familiar with it. Like, unless and until you're at a point where you can cast. Now nothing is certain, nothing is written in stone. But until when, oh, how can I say it? Only when and only until, I suggest, you get to a point where you have really solid confidence in your ability to cast with effective results, at least at least maybe 90 something percent of the time, that's maybe when I would say, okay, maybe you could go forth and advertise to help people. Or if it's not for money, even still, please don't go and try casting on behalves of others, without having some good, solid experience and learning and confidence and a good track record under your belt, please. Because I have seen like cases like that. I've one time I even got into an argument with somebody like that. This was a person that all they would do is ask questions. Constant questions. Why? Because they didn't know anything. Constant questions. I didn't mind the questions when they were just trying to learn, and we were all, me and other people, we were all trying to share with this person, trying to help them on their journey of growth and expansion, finding experience and this and that and the other thing. And then one day they decide to tell us that they are going to start working for other people, doing spiritual work for other people, and we were all like, no, you are way too new for this. And the person just had such a big ego that they didn't want to listen. And I was just like, oh my God, God help anybody that goes to this person. I don't know what has since happened with that person, but you know what? If they're a fraud, I'm pretty sure that they will get caught up in their own bullshit. So, consequences, folks, consequences. But I'm rambling a little bit, and I really didn't mean to do that in this video. But yes, there are so many different aspects to this topic. I look forward to hearing what everyone else has to bring forth. I do clearly pretty much believe that in most cases, working for oneself is probably easier, and you can probably achieve results a little easier and a little more powerfully, only because you are personally connected to and invested in the situation, as I have said before. And I think I've pretty much exhausted my 2 cents in this, so I'm going to wrap up this video. You'll have to forgive me for not maybe making a more substantial, like amazing, like, ooh, wow, cool, crazy video. I'm kind of tired. I've got a lot going on today. And I've been waking up at weird hours and not sleeping right because my body is just really a bitch. Yeah, I don't know what it is. A lot of time, I don't know. I can't get my, suffice it to say, I can't get my sleep cycle normal. It's like really just frustrating. But yeah, I think I'm just going to say blessed be and ashe. And until next time, until next week, you stay awesome. Check out everybody else's videos. If you have anything you want to share, add, chime in, thoughts you want to just put out there in regard to what do you think? What do you think personally? What do you think about doing spells for others versus doing spells for yourself? I'd love to hear what you guys think. We all would, really. So hit us up in the comments. Hit me up down in the comments. And also, after you've watched everyone else's videos this week, hit them up in the comments too. Because that's how we all start conversations. That's how we all, other people will read your comment too. And people will learn from, commenters will learn from other commenters. And that's just what makes our channel so freaking cool, is that we all kind of come together and kind of have ourselves like a little like chat session, So yes, comment, share your thoughts, share your feelings. So yeah, I guess I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye for now.